This is a step-by-step video tutorial on how to make this crocheted bag. This bag is the best. I wear it all the time and it is so easy to make. It's nice and small and just has a simple opening that you can slide your phone wallet and keys in. The only things you'll need for this tutorial is cotton cord. It's 3mm, I believe, but I link the exact cotton cord that I use in the link in the description. And then for this tutorial, I'll be just using the nice light green instead of the cream like this one. And then you'll need a 6.5mm crochet hook, scissors, these D-rings, and then a bag strap. I use gold with the leather to match the D-rings. And you will also need a tapestry needle to do a little bit of sewing on the sides. Otherwise, that is it. Let's get started. For the first round, you'll make a magic circle by holding the yarn like this and then wrapping the yarn back and crossing it over. Insert into that loop, pull loop through, and then chain up one. Okay, then make 6 single crochets into this magic circle. Okay, once you've made 6, pull it closed. And then you're not going to join and chain up one, you're just going to continue in rounds. So find that first single crochet, it might be a little tight. Insert your hook, and this is now round 2. For round 2, you'll make 2 single crochets in each stitch going around. And at the end of the round, you'll end up with 12 single crochets. Sometimes the cotton cord is a little bit rough to work with at first. So you can see I'm kind of like really having to pull it through. But once you start to get used to it and you get used to the tension, it's really not bad. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So what you could do is you could mark off the last stitch in each round so you don't have to necessarily count, but I usually just count in my head out loud. But if you wanted a stitch marker, I sometimes take just a scrap piece of yarn and thread it through the last stitch, or you can use a stitch marker or a bobby pin or something like that just to mark your last stitch so you know where you stopped or where you finished in your last round. So that was round 2, you end up with 12. Now for round 3, you'll make 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 single crochets in the next. And you'll repeat that going all the way around until you have 18 in this row. So that was 3, this is 4, and then the next one increase, 5, 6, and I'll keep going all the way around until I end up with 18 stitches in this round. Now that I've finished and made 18 stitches in round 3, I'll continue to round 4. So you'll make 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches and then increase in the 3rd stitch. So that's 1, 2, and then you'll continue that going all the way around. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet. Now each row is going to go up an interval of 6. So for round 3, you finished with 18 single crochet. Now for round 4, you'll end up with 24 single crochet. So whatever round you are on, just times that by 6, and that'll tell you how many stitches you need in that round. So I'll meet you back here when I'm done with round 4. This is the end of round 4, 24 stitches. Now for round 5, single crochet in the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then increase in the next one. So 1, and then add another one into that same stitch. So you'll keep going around just like that until you get to 30 single crochet in this round. So now that you've done 30 stitches for round 5, you'll move on to round 6, single crocheting in the first 4 stitches, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 single crochet in the next one, 5, 6, and you'll keep going all the way around until you get to 36 single crochet, because 6 times 6 is 36. All right, at the end of round 6, you end up with 36, and now moving on to round 7, you'll single crochet in the first 5. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase in the next one. This is stitch 6 and 7, and you'll go all the way around, keep doing that, 5, and then increase until you get to 42 stitches in this round. Now that you have 42, moving on to round 8, you'll single crochet in the first 6 stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then increase in the next stitch. This is stitch 7 and stitch 8. And then you'll keep going around just like this until you have 48 stitches at the end of this round. For round 9, you'll make a single crochet in the first 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then increase in the next one. 9. Okay, and then you'll continue that all the way around until you get to 54 stitches in round 9. For the 10th and final round, you'll single crochet in the first 8 stitches. 6, 7, 8, and then increase in the next stitch. First stitch 9 and 10 in this next stitch. And then you'll keep going all the way around until you get to 60 single crochet, and then you're done with adding rounds. Once you finish the 10th row, you'll keep going by making a single crochet in the back loop only, so back through there, and you'll do that 40 times. So you'll keep going until you do 40 single crochets in the back loops only. Every stitch, this is the front, this is the back, so you're only going through that back loop. And you'll notice a little ridge forming along the end, and again, you're only doing that 40 times. So once you're done with this first panel, you want to finish off, cut the ends, and weave the ends through, and then repeat this 2 times, so you'll have 2 panels just like this. So I already made the 2, so let's say this is the second one. And then you'll want to slip stitch and finish off. Now for this, you want to finish off by pulling a really, really, really long tail, because you'll be sewing the pieces together. So I don't really measure it, but I just kind of want to make the longest tail possible, just so I don't have to worry about cutting and tying later on. So this is how long my tail is. Super, super long. I don't know, maybe this is about 2 yards. So then you want to pull this all the way through. And then you're going to take the first piece and you'll want to line up where the back loop only row meets up. So it's right about there. And then make sure that it lines up on the other side. So then you can see that'll be the opening for the bag. If you wanted a smaller opening, you can maybe do 42 to 45 back loop only stitches on the last row. It's up to you. I'm going to leave this opening just a little bit bigger. And then you'll want to take the end and place it on your tapestry needle. So again, you want to line up where the back loop only stitches start, and what you're going to do is stitch through the 2 back loops. Let's meet them, and then seems to get a little stuck. There we go. And then pull it all the way through. So now you've attached the first stitch. On the second stitch is where we will attach the D-ring. So you'll just want to line it up here. There's many different ways you can do this. I think I'm going to stitch under the D-ring. And then stitch back in, go through that other side, and come up through the other corner of the D-ring. Come on. There we go. And then make sure that corner is tied down by putting another stitch in the corner here. And I'll probably just come out through the other side just to make sure it's really secure. I don't really have any rhyme or reason to how I sew it. I just sew it enough so I know that it'll stay down and stay sturdy. So like that, and then it has like 2 loops on it, so it's nice and sturdy. And then from there, you're just going to stitch evenly going all the way around. So I go through only the back loops, so the 2 inside loops, and pull a stitch all the way through. And then I go on the same side, on the other side, and pull it all the way through. So each stitch should evenly line up. And you'll just do this going around the edge of the bag for those 40 stitches. And when you get to the second to last back loop only stitch up here, you'll add in the D-ring on this side, so it perfectly lines up with the D-ring on this side. So it'll look like this. It'll be like right about here. Once you're done sewing up the entire side, just make sure you add in that D-ring within the second to last stitch from the end, and then just tie off, make a knot, and weave the ends, and then you can hook your bag strap onto the D-rings, and you are all set and ready to go. I love this bag so much. It's so sturdy because the cotton cord doesn't have any stretch to it, so it's really sturdy, great cute little going out bag. For the bow design on this bag, I made a chain of 50 with navy cotton cord and a 6.5 millimeter hook, and then just weaved in the ends. And then basing off the center of the bag and the center line of the bag, I just start to make a bow with the chain. And then I just kind of manipulate it how I want it. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then I take navy, a really long piece of navy, a tapestry needle, and I make a knot, and then I'm gonna attempt to sew the bow onto the bag. So let me just take these off first so they don't get in my way. I'm just gonna start at the top here because it's a little easier. Now, probably what would be easier to sew this is if you had sewing pins, and then you can kind of just like pin it in place and then sew it. But I don't have sewing pins, so I'm just gonna do my best here. So now I'll move maybe like 2 chains over. And stitch down in there. I notice with the cotton cord it gets a little stuck. All right, so once I'm done sewing the bow on, I'm just gonna finish off. I finished off at the bottom end of the bow, so I'm just gonna try to turn the bag inside out as much as I can and make a knot inside by looping under once, under twice, pull a nice tight knot, and then cut it. Now I will say the cotton cord is kind of hard to sew with. It really gets like jammy. So you could just use a regular like needle and thread. I'm sure that would be just as effective. And like I said, taking like sewing pins and just like setting it in place and then going around and sewing would probably make it a little easier. But I didn't do that, and I thought it still came out pretty good. So that's how I do the little bow. And if you want more details, links to all of the materials that I use, you can head to the link in my description. It'll take you right to crochetbycolleen.com where you can see the rest of the details. I hope you love this pattern. Let me know what else you'd like to see in the comments.